We are live and in high definition from San Juan, Puerto Rico, where a packed house awaits the entrance of local hero, welterweight champion Miguel Cotto. It's the first defense of his 147-pound title, and Cotto will look to impress in front of a raucous crowd of die-hard fans. Cotto's opponent, Oktay Urkal, a long trip from Berlin, Germany, will have his hands full tonight trying to topple the young champion with hardly a supporter in the house. Very quickly, let's bring you back to San Juan with a look at old San Juan. Let's take care of a piece of boxing business. This past weekend, there was quite a flurry of information in the sport, rumors spurred by an article in a London newspaper that suggested that former heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis was indeed in training and planning a comeback to the ring, possibly for a fight against the likewise comebacking Vitaly Klitschko. Lennox, what's your basic response to the report that you're coming back?
Well, I'm not coming back. It's all flattery. I'm very happy being a family man, a commentator. As you can see, I'm putting on a little weight, and you've never seen a skinny king, so I feel good.
So you've answered the question for now. Are you answering it for all time?
Yes, Lennox Lewis is not coming back.
I think your legacy remains intact as one of only two men in the history of the heavyweight division to have defeated every man with whom you were ever in the ring, the other being Rocky Marciano. That's something greatly to be proud of.
Thank you.
Well, if you've paid attention to Puerto Rican boxing and Puerto Rican athletics over the years, and as is marked by the fact that we have boxing tonight in an arena that's named for a legendary baseball player, Puerto Rican athletes tend to stick together. Recently, we had a chance to observe young Miguel Cotto on the golf course with another Puerto Rican legend, Chichi Rodriguez. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Puerto Rico. I'm going to play some golf today with one of the greatest players of the whole time, Juan Rodriguez. You know him better as Chichi Rodriguez.
Oh, Miguel, ¿cómo estás? Me alegro verte. You're strong. Are you training?
Little bit.
Jesus Christ, you hit that like you were going to hit Mayweather. Shane Mosley, he won't go 4 rounds against you. I saw him fight the other night.
Miguel Cotto and Chichi Rodriguez, Puerto Rican athletes from different generations who seem polar opposites. Chichi, golf's clown prince with the Matador dance. Cotto, the coldly intimidating fighter with the paralyzing left hook. But together, they form quite the duo.
I never seen him play this good.
On the trap.
On the trap.
Chichi, it's an honor for me to be Chichi's friend. He's a nice guy. He always tries to be funny.
This is an exploding golf ball. Miguel Cotto doesn't know it. I'm going to even tee up your ball. How is this? So you can get a good lie. He's going to hit it probably as hard as he hit all those fighters with his left hand. When he hits it, he's going to blow up. Let it fly, baby. God almighty, you hit it so hard you made it explode.
I love to play with him, you know? And when I hit the ball and the ball explode, I just laugh. I know Chichi pretty good. I know he has every trick to make you happy. I don't change Chichi for anyone.
Miguel is the kind of guy that goes in the ring and he'll want to knock you out, but if he knocks you out and someday you need some money, he'll give you not only the money, he'll give you the belt if he has to give it to you. And that's why I like him.
Esa era la Chichi.
Esa. All right, all right. You hit that ball like a pro that time, Miguel.
You want to be my caddy?
Yeah, I bet you're caddy.
Despite a 45-year age difference, Miguel and Chichi have developed a friendship beyond the ring and the links.
I used to be a golfing star. I'm not a star anymore. I have passed the baton. The baton belongs to Miguel now.
Chichi has been like a mentor for me. He teach me things about life, about sports, about the people.
You got Carlos Beltran and Ivan Rodriguez and Carlos Delgado, a lot of them, but you're the only fighter right now, so you need to carry that on your shoulders. I love him like a son, you know. What I don't want him to do is get hurt. When Miguel is fighting, I get nervous. He had a fight in Atlantic City. I almost threw the handkerchief in because I didn't have a towel, man.
gets ripped again, and down goes Miguel Cotto.
And when he came back up, man, he was awesome. And I said, that's the sign of a great athlete. He has to get up from the bottom and come back and knock the guy out, and he did it.
Miguel Cotto survives a life and death challenge from Ricardo Torres.
Esto lo hice en el máster del 78.
Yeah, that's what I like of him. He misses a shot and he laughs. You had enough club there. You had too much Miguel Cotto. You want to play one more hole?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play the last hole.
Going to beat you.
At day's end, a boxing superstar and a golfing legend shared one more moment, a passing of the torch of one of the most memorable celebratory signatures in sports.
Watch this, Miguel. You want to, wait, let me show you, because you can break your thumb. No. First of all, you do it here, because that way you have control. Then you have to put the thumb here, and the thumb here. In, out,
And I'll kill you.
Kill the German, don't kill me.
Chi-Chi's reference to kill the German is to opponent Oktay Urkal tonight, and Miguel's not actually going to try to kill him, just to knock him out. Larry Merchant, we've been talking for years about Miguel Cotto's great potential, and in the eyes of many, he's begun to fulfill that potential now, particularly since moving to the welterweight division. Yet in 6 years as a professional, he still has yet to fight a real super top flight fighter. What do we make of that?
After he showed world-class resilience following that knockdown, he was put on the slow track. It was dramatic for us, but traumatic for his handlers. So since then, he has faced only punchless boxers, like the one he's facing tonight in Urkal. We know the result. Cotto is a 20-1 favorite. The good news is that his relentlessly aggressive style, at least against this type of fighter, is its own reward.
Yeah, that's what fans are here to look for, is to watch Miguel Cotto break Urkal down to the body. And Lennox, of course, Oktay Urkal comes from one of those European backgrounds. We often see guys like this who don't have a lot of punching power but have athletic skill. At his best, 5 years ago, he fought a really great fighter, Costa Tszyu, to a near standstill. So how does he now approach a whirlwind like Cotto on Cotto's home turf?
It's going to be difficult. He's in great shape. What you can do is try and get Cotto out of his game. Try and make him make mistakes and take advantage of him. You know, Cotto's coming here pretty confident. He's in front of a home town, so he's going to make mistakes. He's going to get a little desperate. So you wait for him. Definitely don't get hit and move around. That's the most he can do.
The first movement that Urkal will make will be, of course, his walk to the ring. And you're talking about a young man whose parents came from Izmir, Turkey. He was born in Berlin, Germany, at a moment when his parents were on a 3-week vacation to Berlin. And we're going to take a look at the tail of the tape for Miguel Cotto against Oktay Urkal. Urkal spent 21 years fighting at 140 pounds. He won the Olympic gold medal in Atlanta in 1996 in the 139-pound weight class, and then stayed a professional at 140 for a long, long time before finally moving up to welterweight just in his last few fights. Cotto, of course, has only fought one fight at welterweight, breaking down Carlos Quintana 5 months ago. A half-inch height advantage for Urkal, an arm-length advantage of 1.5 inches measured from the armpit to the end of the fist for Cotto. They weighed in within a pound of the 147-pound limit, and tonight Miguel has gone up to 159, where he'll outweigh Urkal unofficially by 9 pounds. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Miguel Cotto Oktay Urkal fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. And we got open scoring at the end of rounds 4 and at the end of round 8. The Puerto Rican Boxing Commission will announce the scores of the 3 official judges. So, Jim, it's going to be very interesting.
No, Harold, it's not. And please don't sound excited about open scoring. It is an idea that does nothing to enhance the drama of fights. It only limits it. And here comes Urkal running to the ring, Lennox.
Yeah, he's showing he's in good shape.
I like
He's
to see
ready
a
for the
fighter
fight.
who's an underdog running to the ring. I can remember seeing Buster Douglas run to the ring when he fought Mike Tyson. Urkal said one of the most honest things I've ever heard a fighter say to us yesterday. When we asked him what he would do, he says, "You can only fight as good as your opponent lets you." Most fighters only want to admit that they had a bad night, not that the opponent made them have a bad night.
He has mentioned retirement, Lennox. Larry always says when a fighter talks about retirement, he's retired. Your take?
I believe when a guy talks about retirement, he's almost retired. He's just sticking around basically for the money. He has nothing else to do.
$375,000 to make the trip from Berlin here to Puerto Rico to be matched as the foil for Miguel Cotto tonight. And as we mentioned, Cotto has elected to walk to the ring without music. So this is a celebration of him here in Puerto Rico. Lennox Lewis made the point on camera, Larry, that Cotto might make mistakes in front of a home crowd. He got rocked by DeMarcus Corley here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and had trouble in that fight. Some thought that maybe his concentration was flawed on that night.
It's a natural thing. Whether Urkal can exploit it is questionable. You know, we and others have touted him as the successor, the heir apparent to Tito Trinidad. But let's be real here. Tito Trinidad, at this same age of 26, already had defended titles 15 times, had beaten Whitaker and De La Hoya, was a kind of boy wonder with a photogenic smile, and the people here loved him. That's a hard one to live up to.
Hey, that's why 2 years after his shutout loss to Winky Wright, a lot of people still ask if Tito Trinidad's coming back. Let's go to Michael Buffer now for the official introductions.
Damas y caballeros, Bob Army Top Rank Boxing presentan 12 asaltos por el titular welter del mundo, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA welterweight championship of the world. Sanctioned by El Comisión de Boxeo de Puerto Rico, Chairman Jose Peña Garicano. Honorable Alcalde de San Juan, Jorge Santini, in attendance at ringside. WBA Supervisor, Jose Oliver Gomez. At ringside, the three judges scoring this contest, los tres jueces son Gustavo Estrella, Guy Jutra, Nelson Vasquez, and inside the ring, working for the 64th time in a world title bout, el referee Luis Pavon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, y ahora, damas y caballeros, ahora boricuas desde San Juan, Puerto Rico, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, official weight 146 pounds, professional record 38 victories, including 11 by knockout, with 3 defeats. From Berlin, Germany, the WBA mandatory welterweight world challenger, Oktay Urkal. Fighting out of the red corner, wearing red and white, official weight 147 pounds. A perfect professional record, 28 bouts, 28 victories, including 23 knockouts. The reigning, defending WBA welterweight champion of the world, el invicto de Caguas, Puerto Rico, Miguel.
Only one. Ok, vamos abajo, vamos. Mucha gente, vamos. Cotto. Vamos abajo, tú. Viene con él, viene. Vamos abajo, vamos, vamos. Ok, muchachos, yo le di las instrucciones en el camerino. Vamos a hacer una pelea limpia, que gane el mejor, ok? Suerte.
You've often heard the expression in boxing about an underdog that he has a puncher's chance. The question tonight about Urkal is, does he have a boxer's chance?
Last year, an Italian fighter named Gianluca Branco was cast in Urkal's role and got busted up like never before in a 42-fight career. Body punchers hurt you in ways that head punchers sometimes do not, and Miguel Cotto is regarded now by some as the supremo body puncher in the sport. At 5 feet 8 inches tall in a division where there are fighters who are 6 feet 1 or 6'2" like Paul Williams, 5'11" like Kermit Cintron, 5'10" like Antonio Margarito, he's going to have to be a continuously effective body puncher. Miguel starts out jabbing to Urkal's head. Straight left hand up the middle by Cotto lands on Urkal's face, and 2 of Urkal's losses against Vivian Harris, he was bedeviled by a broken nose. 12-round close decision loss to Harris, and then 11th round TKO. In both of those fights, his broken nose hampered him in the late rounds. Cotto doesn't go so much for the nose as he goes for the rib cage. Most particularly, his best punch is the left hook to the liver. That's the punch that knocked out Carlos Quintana.
If you saw Urkal walking down the street with that nose, you would say there's a fighter.
100%. Cotto reaching for the first time to try to get that left hook to the body in. And already you see the professionalism of Oktay Urkal. Doesn't back off. Knows how to move just the way Miguel Cotto moves. And aggresses with the jab and the right hand himself, trying to make an impression here in the first round.
And if you notice, he definitely knows about Cotto's body punching, because every time Cotto goes to the body, or even if he doesn't go to the body, Urkal puts his elbows down. He's protecting his body. He knows that Cotto's a body puncher.
Well, by the time Branco left the fight against Cotto last year in the 8th round, his right arm was out of the socket from the number of times that Cotto had hit it with his left hook. So that's the kind of thudding damage that Miguel can do with that punch, even if you're guarding against it.
Urkal's got an extensive amateur career, so he's well schooled.
Won a gold medal at the Olympics in 1996.
I think there's a correction there, Jim. I think he won the silver.
Well, he beat an American named David Diaz en route to the medal.
He was a teammate of the Klitschko's as an amateur.
Have to check my bio information again, be sure.
10 seconds, 10 segundos.
And Larry, you're correct, it was the silver medal. My error.
Breathe, breathe. That's it, breathe. Good. Good, one more time. That's it.
Jerry Olaya interpreting Spanish in Miguel Cotto's corner, and when we go across the ring to the corner of Oktay Urkal, well, they'll speak German. Our interpreter is Jens Halling.
Be careful and stay calm. If he comes, you stay calm and do the thing. You did very good. Always with your leading hand.
Combi box numbers in round one, and it was a relatively cautious feeling out round for both fighters. Cotto 13 out of 49, Urkal 7 out of 34. Cotto throwing 27 jabs out of those 49 punches, hasn't really unleashed in full effect the body arsenal yet. There's a right to the rib cage by Cotto, and Urkal tries to come back with a left hook upstairs. Other right to the rib cage by Cotto, and there's the thudding left to the rib cage. Keeps his hands high and up around his forehead, does Cotto, before dipping to throw those body punches. Body shot by Urkal. Trying to fight a little fire with fire.
Next to each other, Cotto looks much the stronger man.
It's not to say that Urkal doesn't look strong. I mean, he's a good, well-conditioned athlete, as Lennox pointed out. It's just that Miguel Cotto has a thick trunk. Left hook upstairs. Urkal kind of shakes his head a little bit. Cotto blocking a body shot with his arms. Urkal seems determined in this round, Lennox, to make his own impression on the body and try to discourage Cotto from unleashing his body attack by throwing his own body punches.
Well, what he does nicely, he throws a combination, he covers up well.
From everything Urkal said before the fight, the appearance was he was coming for a payday. He sort of knew what was going to happen. But give him credit, he's a professional and he's performing at what looks to be his best at this time in his career.
Fought a tremendously spirited fight against Castazoo on a night when a lot of people thought he was going to be totally outgunned. Pressed Vivian Harris to the limit in 2 fights in Germany. And Harris was trained by Emmanuel Stewart. Cotto having trouble finding the target with those body shots as Urkal keeps his elbows pinned down deep against the ribcage. So Cotto comes upstairs with a left hook and then lowers the shot. And Urkal coming back twice over the top with his right hand.
Good body punches always know how to get your hands down, and the way Cotto's doing it, he's throwing body punches, and if Urkal's covering his body, he's coming up with hooks. He's hitting wherever it's open. Wherever he sees the spot that's open, that's where he's hitting. That's a mark of a good boxer.
Cotto excites the crowd by banging away to the body with 2 shots. Throws 2 jabs upstairs. Urkal holds out his glove as if to say, hey, we're sportsmen here. Cotto simply walks away to his corner. March 5, catch the next installment of Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. Among the stories, we sit down with new Chicago Cubs manager Lou Piniella. And starting April 15, tune into the premiere of our special 4-part series, De La Hoya Mayweather 24/7. Unprecedented access will take you inside the lives and training camps of both fighters as they prepare for their highly anticipated mega showdown.
Keep up with the jab. Remember the jab. Don't stand there in front of him waiting for it. Movement, movement.
Cotto is another left-handed man who fights from the right-handed or conventional style. He does everything left-handed. You saw when he played golf with Chichi Rodriguez, he was hitting the balls left-handed.
Thus putting his stronger hand in front, and what that often means is pretty good jabber, excellent hooker. In this case, Cotto's strongest punch by far is his left hook. He's been working on the straight right hand over the years, much as Oscar De La Hoya started out with a great left hook because he's a natural southpaw, had to work over the years to gradually improve his right hand. Good left hook by Urkal there. There's the left hook to the body by Cotto, and he slams it into Urkal's ribcage one more time. Urkal trying to fight back, throwing right hands over the top.
Break. Okay, nobody throw, okay?
Already after the second round, Urkal had begun blowing out of the nostrils. And that isn't always regarded as a good idea because it can prompt swelling if you're getting hit around the nose. But the red spots on Urkal's face are up around his temples and his forehead because he's been holding his hands high.
All right, watch your head, No, nobody throw, okay? Watch your head, okay?
And it looks like Urkal is boxing with his mouth open a little bit. I don't know if his mouth guard's a bit too big for it.
Or he could be tired early.
Well, he's been landing some good punches, head punches, but they don't seem to bother Cotto at all.
Watch your head.
Cotto's standing there like he almost wants you to throw a punch at him so he can react off of it.
And there was the sledgehammer left hook to the body, and Urkal is backing off. Cotto has twice landed that left hook to the body in this recent sequence, and Urkal knows now the danger of facing this body puncher up close. And there it is again.
And I don't know that I've ever seen a knowing crowd like this cheer body punches.
Hey, watch your head.
Well, maybe in the days when Julio Cesar Chavez was entertaining Mexican fans with exactly the same kind of attack. Because if there's one fighter that Cotto reminds me of, Larry, it's Chavez in his prime, hammering away at the ribcage with that left hook.
Urkal's doing a wise thing. He's anytime he gets inside, he's tying Cotto up because he doesn't want to get hit by those body shots. They're definitely affecting him.
Now Cotto fires the left hook upstairs. Urkal wobbles back a little bit. Urkal comes back with 2 hard punches of his own. Oktay is working as hard as he can to make clear that he's a competitor in the fight.
Time.
This is a proud athlete getting beaten up.
Earlier I mentioned that if Miguel Cotto can get past this fight, and if Zab Judah can get past a more or less ceremonial occasion on April 13 and against an opponent yet to be named, Judah would be the next opponent for Cotto, and that would take place June 9 in Madison Square Garden in New York. Of course, you're talking about Zab's hometown of New York City, and he would expect a great deal of crowd support, but it's also the night before the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I believe it would be the 3rd consecutive year in which Cotto would be fighting in New York the night before the Puerto Rican Day Parade. It's become a sort of routine occasion for him, and you hear the crowd boo now as on the television monitors that they're watching in the arena, they see that shot of Judah. Judah's been away from the sport a whole year, Lennox, as the result of his suspension after the riot that was prompted in the ring following his 2 fouls against Floyd Mayweather last April. To come back and then fight a sort of tune-up opponent and go in against Cotto is not an easy assignment.
Well, I'm sure he's been in the ring, in the gym, and I know he's been working hard, so we should see good things from him when he comes back.
And here, as Larry Merchant said earlier, Oktay Urkal getting a chance to land big punches against Miguel Cotto, and Cotto just walking through them for the right to keep throwing and firing away to the body. Unlike the occasion at 140 pounds where he traded punches with Ricky Torres and got himself in big trouble, Cotto's able to take these punches very well. He's gotten hit on the chin, right on the button 2 or 3 times in this round, and just kept coming forward.
This is turning out to be a more spirited fight than the first one, which was expected to be the action fight.
Incidentally, you heard Harold Letterman tell you before the fight that there will be open scoring after the 4th and 8th rounds, so they'll announce the scores in the arena after the 4th and 8th rounds.
Hey, stop.
Some people like it, I guess. One of those interesting pieces of boxing politics, because the governing body which sanctions this fight is not interested in open scoring. It's another governing body that wants to do it. It's the local commission here which decided they wanted to do it tonight. Scores are probably going to show that Miguel Cotto has won the round, which isn't going to come as a mystery to anybody.
Good hard left to the jaw inside by Cotto.
And the body shots again. You listen to the crowd, ooh and ah, for the body shots of Cotto. And Urkal comes back with a couple of right hands to the body as if to say, hey, I can hit to the rib cage too.
You know, very often body shots are ignored, not only by the crowd, but even officials. But Cotto's body shots can't be ignored by anyone.
Well, you know the funny thing about body shots, hitting the body, if you hit the body, it comes from the old school. When you hit the body, the head dies. And even if you're boxing a taller opponent and you hit the body, all of a sudden that taller opponent becomes shorter. It becomes your height.
Well, it was Joe Frazier who uttered that, you know, kill the body and the head will follow.
Who was the toughest body puncher you ever fought, Lennox? Ray Mercer?
Ray Mercer gave me a great fight. He was throwing some great body shots, but I was coming back. I would say, you know, it would have to be Evander Holyfield, Ray Mercer. Good uppercut by Cotto there, catching Urkal.
Almost lifted him off the canvas, but Urkal came back with a combination.
Breathe, breathe, breathe. 2. All right, nice and deep. You all right? Come on.
Take a deep breath. You have to hit him more. I want you to hit him lower.
Ladies and gentlemen, the score totals after 4 rounds. All 3 judges score the bout 40-36.
For
Miguel Cotto.
Didn't somebody win the round?
Thank you, Michael. Yes, for Miguel Cotto. Well, what a shock. All 3 judges scored 40-36 so far for Miguel Cotto. Now, Harold, you get to chime in. How do you score it?
I think that's outstanding judging by judges A, B, and C. 40-36 is absolutely the correct score. Miguel Cotto hammering away at Oktay Urkal with those shots to the body that are making me say, ouch. I mean, just vicious shots to the body. I don't know how Urkal can stand there and trade with him, but he is. The kid's doing an amazing job hanging in there. 4-0, 40-36 Cotto.
And this is why open scoring is a horrifically bad idea. Whatever suspense might have existed in the arena has now been eliminated, and Oktay Urkal has no adjustment that he can make that would change things anyway, other than to get desperate and give himself more of a chance to get hurt. Right, Lennox?
Right.
I don't think in this case it makes a whole lot of difference.
Oh, I just still think it's a horrific idea whether it makes a difference or not.
Everybody in the arena and in the ring knows what the score of the fight is.
Right. To be fair, I like the suspense. I don't like to know.
That I agree with.
Round 5, and, you know, a lot of the question now is how long can Oktay Urkal hold out and fight bravely and show spirit and show his resolute courage against what is becoming a thudding beating to the ribcage by a ribcage beater, Miguel Cotto.
Okay, stop.
Now their heads butt against each other, and Cotto kind of grimaces as if to say that didn't feel good. Urkal sticks the jab. Cotto goes back to banging away at his ribcage.
Like a German in Lederhosen trying to climb up a mountain.
Go ahead. Chopping left hand upstairs by Cotto. Crowd responds with oohs and ahs to that. As much as they like the head punches, they respond even more enthusiastically when Cotto digs that left hook to the liver. They know what they're watching.
Urkal has to be careful here because every time he covers up, his head comes across his front foot, saying that his balance is in front of him. And that's very open for Cotto to throw an uppercut.
And Cotto keeps throwing uppercuts. He's thrown both a left uppercut and a right uppercut within the past 30 seconds of the fight. What about Cotto's potential height disadvantage against bigger welterweights like Williams and Cintron and Margarito? Lennox, do you think it's going to be significant?
Well, it can be significant if he allows it to be significant. If he's able to get in there and get to the body, then it's not significant because taller guys have a hard time infighting, and that's where his advantage will be. Inside.
Williams would have as much as a 13-inch reach advantage.
Oh, there was a clash of heads there, and
Cotto's bleeding.
Yes.
And that's the second clash of heads in the round. You saw Cotto grimace the first time, and not happy about this one.
I told you it was going to happen.
One.
Come on, breathe deeply now. Deeply again. All right, it's nothing. Don't worry about it.
And here we're going to look at the butt. They were both throwing punches at the same time. And there it is, the clash of heads right there.
Now here's a way that open scoring can affect the fight. That the fighter whose head is gashed by an accidental headbutt and knows the score of the fight can do a little dramatics. The fight is stopped. He's won the fight.
Yet another potential bad effect of open scoring. Underlining my point again.
Go ahead.
Body shots again from Miguel Cotto. Urkal stopped only once in his career, that in the 11th round by Vivian Harris. This has become a sort of ongoing measuring stick for Cotto. Got Bronco out of there last year much more quickly than anybody had ever been able to do before. Got Quintana out in the 5th round after Quintana had outboxed punching prospect Joel Julio of Colombia. Now with the blood flowing from outside his left eye, Cotto goes to work on trying to finish off Urkal.
Yeah. Hey, second time. Hey, give you.
And Urkal's definitely sticking the head in there.
Yep, and Luis Pabon is warning him. Now says he's warned him twice and is going to begin taking points for butts if it happens again. Incidentally, there's kind of a magic number in the sport. If you land 50% of your power shots via CompuBox numbers, you're going to beat your opponent up. After the last round, you saw the numbers on your screen that indicated Miguel Cotto was landing exactly 50% of his power shots. Urkal's not doing badly, landing 43% of his power shots. They just don't have as much power.
If you look at Urkal realizes that he's got that cut over his right eye. He's throwing punches towards that left eye of Cotto.
So Cotto switches southpaw to turn the eye away from him and make it harder for Urkal to hit that bleeding eye. This is something Cotto did against Quintana, a southpaw. He turned southpaw to create better punching angles and set up the power shots. He does it again here.
But Urkal's still throwing that right hand. He's aiming for that eye.
And that's why Cotto has turned into this stance to turn the eye farther away from Urkal and make it harder for him to hit it. And incidentally, he's pretty doggone defective this way. Because, of course, as Larry Merchant pointed out, if he were to have fought in his natural style, he would have been a southpaw, fighting with his jab in this position and the power shot from the back shoulder like this.
Harold, I have a question for you. Let's say Cotto's eye, which originally came from an accidental butt, gets significantly worse by punches. Is he TKO'd if he can't go on?
No. If the original cut is caused by an accidental headbutt and it's beyond the 4th round, you go to the scorecards, Larry.
Let me see your face. You have something left. You can finish him. You have to move more.
Come on, breathe deeply. Come on, don't let him do that to you. Come on, let's work it how we're supposed to do it. Let's do it. Good job, good job. You're doing good. Move out of those right hands.
You gotta love the intelligence of Miguel Cotto switching to a southpaw stance to protect that left eye in the last round. Let's see if he does it again. Starts out in a conventional stance here. Oktay, Urkal's trainer, perhaps a little optimistic in saying, oh, he's got nothing left. I think you can finish him. Not really sure about that. Cotto would seem to have plenty left, albeit blood around the left eye. Cotto throwing a little bit more upstairs now, as if he's interested in perhaps shortening the distance between here and the end of the fight.
Okay, nadie tira, no, nobody do.
We're in the 7th of a scheduled 12 rounds, and it would appear that Cotto has won all of the first 6. We know that he won all of the first 4 on all 3 official judges' scorecard because they're using open scoring here.
Now, Cotto's got a good jab. He needs to use it a lot more. Right now, he's trying to get inside and throw some power punches.
Lands a left hook to Urkal's chin.
No matter how much Cotto pounds his body, Urkel still keeps his gloves high, and he's trying to keep his elbows in, but he's protecting his face first. He's a well-trained fighter.
There's Urkel putting that head in there again. I know the referee's going to warn him.
Yep.
Time.
And this is going to be the point deduction. Lennox Lewis right on top of it. 2 warnings prior to this, and now a point deduction for Urkel, who, of course, isn't in the fight on points anyway.
If I've ever seen a meaningless point deduction, that was it.
Okay, nobody throw. Estoy aquí limpio, no?
Urkel with a full swinging left hook and a wink at Lennox Lewis.
Where's that head to go?
Watch your head. Hey, watch your head. Watch your head.
This is a pretty good referee, Pavone. He sees all the same things that you see.
Watch your head. Okay, nobody throw. Watch your head.
You know, the scoring is one-sided. The outcome seems ordained. If you didn't see the fight and you read the newspapers, it would just say that Cotto dominated a game German who just wasn't up to it. But Cotto's going to go home tonight knowing he was in a fight.
Absolutely, because Urkel is one of those 365-day-a-year athletes, typical of the European-style fighter in this day and age. I mean, people can criticize European fighters for their supposed stand-up style and mechanical quality, but the fact of the matter is they're in shape, they're intelligent, they know how to fight.
Dry his body off. All right, breathe deeply again. Come on, keep working it. Put some water on his body. He keeps throwing his head. He doesn't say anything. Hey, he took a point away.
He's tired. Did you notice? He's definitely tired. You have to go through him. Go through the middle. Take your leading hand.
And this time, the German trainer's advice may well be on point because Cotto did seem to take a bit of a rest in the 7th round. Urkel, by CompuBox numbers, landing more power shots in the round, 16 out of 31 to 10 out of 27. Landing more punches and throwing more punches in the round. If you were looking for a round in the fight to give to Urkel, that was it. Harold Letterman did so, but because of the point deduction, it becomes 9-9 on his card.
Watch your head.
How distracting is it to Cotto to be fighting with the blood coming from the cut above his left eye, Lennox?
It is distracting for him because he doesn't want to get cut. It just gives him something else to worry about. And, you know, no fighter likes to get cut in there because there's always that chance that the referee is going to stop it or the cut could worsen.
We're 3 months away from June 9. Could it affect his date in Madison Square Garden with Zab Judah?
It may affect his date depending how fast he heals and how bad the cut is.
It doesn't look like a serious rip around the eye.
As you can see, Urkal still throwing punches towards that left eye, wanting to open it.
But it could get more serious in the next 3 or 4 rounds.
Exactly. You don't expect that Cotto's thinking about that, incidentally. You don't expect that he's in there thinking, oh no, I'm going to lose my June 9 date with Judah in Madison Square Garden. But you do expect that he could be distracted by the constant butting, the constant head contact, and the trickle of blood.
He definitely is distracted from it because, you know, that's what Urkal came to do, to make it not an easy day for him.
Well, you said in the opening on camera, Urkal needed to find a way to take Cotto out of his game. Accidentally, though it happened, it seems for the moment to have happened. Not that it gives Urkal necessarily a big chance to win the fight, just that it means that maybe the fight goes a much greater distance than Cotto might himself have expected. He's accustomed to chopping people down around the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round.
Urkal definitely came to fight. He's not one of these guys to lay down. Came in with a strategy.
Okay, no holding.
And there's no question Miguel Cotto's punches in the last 2 rounds have not had the same snap as in the preceding rounds where almost everything was thudding audibly.
Seems like he's biding his time right now. He's waiting for that right opportunity where he can really explode on Urkal.
This is the 8th of the scheduled 12 in between rounds. Once again, Michael Buffer will read the official scores.
Urkal. That's gone.
Referee's going to let the doctor look at it.
Possibility of stopping the fight and going to the scorecards.
Time in.
Doctor says he can fight. 10 seconds to go in the round.
Oh, that was a bad headbutt right at the end of the round by Urkal.
Which once again interrupts the flow as we get ready to show you a package of tape looks at Miguel Cotto's body shots throughout the fight. As I mentioned, regarded by many as the superior body puncher in the sport at this moment. Left hook to the body, right to the body. It's the way he sits down on this, Lennox, and commits to it that creates the power, right?
And his accuracy is great. He just knows how to throw that punch right behind the elbow and get through with the punch. He throws it in a good fashion.
Step back a little bit, so he doesn't put the head in.
Well, I didn't hear the scores. Did you? Now Cotto seems anxious to begin the action again. After rounds 7 and 8 seeming to be a little bit less zesty for Cotto, he comes back out with a flurry to begin the 9th.
Interesting what goes on between fighters sometimes.
Big uppercut with the left hand by Cotto.
And there's that uppercut I was telling you about because Urkal ducks his head right into that uppercut. Anytime he's protecting his body, he tucks down right down into that uppercut.
Okay, here are the scores. Cotto leading 77-74, 78-73, and 80-71. Harold, how do you have it?
Jim, I've got it 79-72.
7 rounds for Cotto, 1 round even. The 1 round even being the round that referee Luis Pabon took a point away from Oktay Urkal, which made it an even round. I mean, Miguel Cotto just hammering away at the body, round after round after round. The only round he lost was, like Lennox called it, when Urkal took him out of his game with a headbutt. But other than that, it's all Miguel Cotto, 79-72.
I have it a point or two closer. Cotto doesn't appear to be in any danger, except to his reputation.
Well, what about his reputation, Larry? I mean, could his reputation be damaged if he has to go to the distance against Oktay Urkal in a fight of this nature with an accidental cut over his left eye?
No, I think you give him credit. He won the fight. He fought a tough guy he couldn't get, if that's the way it turns out. But, you know, he's been dominant in this fight as he was against Malignaggi. Malignaggi fought him hard. So, you know, but we want to see what he does against somebody who can really crack. Because he's been cracked a few times by Urkal to no effect.
Lennox, do you think Zab Judah can really crack?
Zab Judah can definitely crack. Whether he can do it against Cotto is the question.
Lloyd Mayweather would say maybe Zab can crack for the first few rounds, but not after that. Mayweather called Judah a front runner who's capable of fighting for 3 or 4 rounds, but not beyond that point.
Cotto may be tired because he's fighting an unusual round here, backing up to the ropes.
I think he's just trying another strategy. He wants Urkal to come at him and see if he can commit himself and make any mistakes so he can take advantage of that.
Sunday, April 15, tune into the premiere of our special 4-episode series, De La Hoya Mayweather 24/7. We'll go inside the lives of both fighters through exclusive interviews and full behind-the-scenes access to their training camps as they prepare for what projects as the biggest fight since Lennox Lewis fought Mike Tyson in Memphis, June 8, 2002. In other words, the biggest fight in 4 years and 11 months in our sport, De La Hoya versus Mayweather.
And here we're going to see Cotto take advantage of that uppercut and the fact that Urkal is sticking that head down. Great uppercut.
And Urkal's either saying that was a good shot, or is that all you have?
Or both. But hey, remember, Urkal went the distance with Costa Tszyu, who was regarded as a monster puncher at 140 pounds at that time. Urkal went to the 12th round, actually fought the distance with Vivian Harris one time through, and then was TKO'd in the 11th. In both fights, he fought with a broken nose, and Harris was regarded as a pretty big puncher at 140 pounds. Pretty sharp puncher, at least. So it's no shame, it would appear, on record if Cotto has to go the distance to beat Oktay Urkal. Urkal's the kind of fighter who's done this against good fighters before.
Still in all, he's 36. Cotto's 26 in his prime, stronger man.
Now this time I get to correct you. He's 37. We're even.
Go ahead. Okay, nobody do. Okay, nobody do. No. Go ahead, watch your head. No holding. Okay, nobody do. I'm here.
See, Cotto's doing the right thing, starting off everything with a jab. Very important when all the action becomes a bit lax, that jab really starts everything off again. Urkal's not an easy target. He's moving around the ring. He's doing what he does naturally, and that's movement. He's a great mover.
And incidentally, he's been pretty active with his own hands. In fact, as of moments ago, Oktay Urkal has now landed more power punches against Miguel Cotto than anyone else in the 18 Cotto fights that CompuBox has tracked. Now, part of that is the result is the fact that they fought into the 10th round, and a lot of Cotto fights have been shorter than that. I mean, Kelson Pinto was landing power shots, and Ricardo Torres was landing power shots, but those fights ended in 6 or 7 rounds.
A couple of years ago in Dortmund, Germany, when Vladimir Klitschko was fighting there, I ran into Urkal in the fitness room. He wasn't even fighting at the time. He was working out. And you can see how fit this 37-year-old man is.
And Miguel Cotto is totally frustrated with Oktay Urkal because of the number of times that their heads have come together. And Cotto just expressed it by lifting Urkal up in what almost became a WWF move.
All right, right there. Come on, watch out for those headbutts, man. Don't move your head. Don't move your head. Don't do that same thing again. Come on, man. Don't do that again.
You have to be careful with your defense. Keep it closed. It's dangerous if you open up. He can get you if you open it up.
And here's that little thing at the end. You know, let me tell you, for Cotto to do this shows great strength. It's not easy to do a thing like this, to lift your opponent up.
Does it show a lack of composure, though?
Not really. You know, the guy's leaning on top of him. He's just standing straight up and picking him up with him.
I don't know. It doesn't look like any great act of strength to me.
Well, Larry, you were a football player at the University of Oklahoma. I mean, you've probably done that to 230-pound fullbacks back in your day, right?
Okay, nobody,
Sure.
okay?
Crowd wants Cotto to get his knockout. So they roar with approval every time he lands something. And he fires that left hook to the body to punish Urkal with it one more time, but Urkal just isn't going to go from the body punches tonight.
1 point. Head.
Another headbutt penalty against Urkal.
1 point head.
I don't know about that one.
They're throwing the towel in from the corner. They want
Urkal's corner's going to throw in the towel. The trainer says enough, and Cotto gets his knockout.
Why? I don't get
I
it.
didn't understand that one bit. He wasn't losing the fight. He was doing well. That was weird.
I think the trainer is saying that the referee is being unfair in constantly penalizing Urkal, and they don't want to be a part of it anymore.
Well,
and they also knew the scores because of the open scoring, which eliminated any suspense about whether Urkal had a chance to win the fight.
But I have to remark that I didn't see any serious headbutts.
Not in that not when the referee last warned him. I didn't notice any headbutts whatsoever. Basically, Urkal just, you know, grabbed him and tied him up.
Let me get on my soapbox. They threw in the towel because of open scoring. That was the reason that the fight was stopped when it was.
The ending was such an anticlimax to me.
Correct.
You know,
what a brilliant idea.
It's disappointing for the fans because they want to see at least the end of the fight. They wanted to see Cotto, you know, try and get that knockout if it was there, but at least allow your boxer to end the fight. Don't stop it. It's always disappointing for a boxer.
Urkal's trainer, Uli Wegner, probably partially in frustration with the referee and knowing that his fighter has no chance to win the fight, and feeling as though at 37 there might not be much reason for Urkal to take another 4.5 minutes of body shot punishment, throws in the towel. And the crowd gets an extremely anticlimactic finish rather than the definitive stoppage they had been hoping for. Now here's the deduction of the point, which only underlines the fact that Urkal is going to lose by big numbers. Then there's Uli Wegner saying, come on, let's go back to Berlin. Let's get on the plane right now.
I know Urkal's not happy about that. He would have wanted that fight to end properly.
Of course, he wanted to go the distance. And if it weren't for open scoring, he probably would have.
You know, this kind of stoppage affects your record. You don't want that kind of stoppage on your record.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for what should have been the first official reading of the scores all evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the urging of his corner, the challenger, unable to continue, referee Luis Pabon calls a halt to the contest. The official time, 1 minute, 1 second, round number 11. The winner, still undefeated, el invicto de Jaguas, Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto.
29th win, 24th knockout in Cotto's career. No asterisk will appear in the record book to say that the knockout was the product of a towel thrown in because of open scoring. But that's the way this reporter sees it, as well as perhaps a few others. Harold, I have to assume that you had Cotto prohibitively ahead in the fight.
Oh, yeah, Jim. At 98-91, he was ahead by at least 7 points at the time that they stopped the fight. There was no question. And with the corner knowing the score, I mean, what the heck, we can't win this fight, they stopped it. I mean, open scoring had a lot to do with them stopping the fight. You're 100% correct, Jim.
44% connect percentage overall for Cotto to 29% for Urkal. Look at that. Urkal threw 3 more punches in the fight. Brave, spirited effort for Oktay Urkal in a fight which clearly he was not going to be able to win from the very beginning, but he came all the way from Berlin to San Juan to compete and to show his pride as a competitor, and probably deserved a chance as the result of that to finish the fight. His corner made a decision not to let him do so. Power punches, Cotto landing 41 more, throwing 33 more, and once again, when you land more than 50% of your power punches in the fight, you are going to beat your opponent up if you hit with any pop whatsoever, and Miguel Cotto most certainly does. Larry Merchant stands by with Miguel Cotto, who increasingly speaks English in his interviews, though he may occasionally need some assistance from interpreter Jerry Olaya. Miguel's working on this and getting better all the time. Let's go to Larry.
Thank you very much, Jim. Congratulations, Miguel. Were you puzzled by what happened at the end of the fight?
Well, I think his corner going to pass the same at me. I'm a little bit confused with the head of my opponent, and he think he's better stop the fight.
Did you think he was butting you deliberately?
¿Piensa que fue deliberado los cabezazos?
No sé si lo hizo. I don't know if it were proposal or not, but he hit me with the head.
Was the blood and the cut bothering you?
A little bit. In a few moments of any round, the blood bothered me a little bit.
Are you concerned that it might impair you to fight in June?
Yeah, I'm going to taking care of my cut now. I'm going from here to the hospital to see the cut, and I'm going to prepare for June.
Was he a little bit better, more spirited than you expected, given all the punishment you were giving him to the body?
Well, the blood helped him to survive. You know, I think when the blood appeared in the fight, I'm going low in the fight.
So you think that inspired him to think he had a chance to win the fight?
No, I think I'm always go in front of the fight. Excuse me, but the blood bothers me a lot in the fight.
You heard the scoring, giving out the public scoring. Were you aware that you were so far ahead?
I never hit the score. I always pay attention of my corner, and I don't know how the score it was.
Let's look ahead just a little bit. We know you have a fight prospectively with Zab Judah in June. Whenever I've asked you in the past, who do you want to fight, you always said, well, let Top Rank figure that out. You tell me who you want to fight.
All the big names, 147 pounds. I want to fight with them.
How much better on a scale of 1 to 10 are you better as a welterweight than as a junior welterweight?
Welterweight. I feel better. I feel more stronger. I feel with more stamina. I feel better in 147 pounds.
Congratulations again,
Thank you, Larry.
Miguel. All right, we're going to speak to Urkal's trainer. Tell us exactly why you wanted to end the fight when you did.
Erzählen Sie uns genau, warum Sie den Kampf beenden wollten, als Sie es getan haben.
Ich muss sagen, erstmal Glückwunsch, Cotto zum Sieg mit seinem Training. Volle Anerkennung. Er hat zu diesem Zeitpunkt, wo ich abgebrochen habe, geführt. Wir hatten noch bei den Ringrichter keine Chance. Cotto konnte viel auf den Nieren hauen, unerlaubte Schläge machen und er wurde das zweite Mal verwarnt. Wir hatten keine Siegeschance mehr. Und warum soll ich den Jungen noch 2 Runden gehen lassen, wenn er sowieso keine Siegeschance mehr hat?
The other one was leading through all the rounds and he was doing punches that are not allowed. And the judge let it slide, and this is why I threw it
Are
down.
you referring specifically to body punches that you thought were too far in the back?
Meinen Sie Körpertreffer, die zu weit im Hinten?
Ja, die waren, genau, Sie haben recht, die so weit hinten, der Junge ist vollkommen rot und blau hinten und ich habe die Gesundheit jetzt vorgesehen.
You're correct. He was totally red and blue in the back, and this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Were you aware of the open scoring and did that influence you in stopping the fight?
War es Ihnen bewusst, dass Sie die Punkte bekannt gegeben werden in der Mitte des Kampfes und hat das Ihre Entscheidung beeinflusst?
Sicherlich. Ich habe gesehen, man muss auch sagen, Cotto ist ein klasse Mann. Ja. Ich muss sagen, Oktay hat hier einen Bombenkampf gemacht. Das hat man in der Reaktion des Publikums gesehen. Glückwunsch, Cotto ist ein Weltklasse-Mann, da gibt es nichts dran zu teufeln, aber ich muss mit den Ringrichtern entscheiden, bin ich einverstanden.
I definitely was influenced by the open scoring, but I also have to say that Cotto did a very good fight. He's a world-class fighter, and my fighter didn't have a chance with this judge in the ring.
Field Duncan. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Larry. And so you heard the story from Uli Wegner, who felt as though Cotto was getting away with punches too far onto the back of Oktay Urkal, but of course open scoring, as we mentioned before, a factor in ultimately making that decision. Lennox, let's look ahead to the potential fight on June 9 between Miguel Cotto and Zab Judah off what we saw here. Judah is slightly taller, probably a couple of inches taller. He'll have a 5-inch reach advantage in the fight. If anything, he probably has faster hands than Miguel Cotto. Will that be Cotto's toughest test so far in his career?
I think it'll be a big test for him. Zab Judah is a good boxer, so if Zab decides to go out there and box and has a plan, he should do quite well. But it's going to be a rough fight for him, and it's going to be a good fight for everybody, all the fans.
Zab Judah lost a fight unexpectedly to a relatively slow, hard body puncher, Carlos Baldemir. Cotto's a much quicker, hard body puncher than Carlos Baldemir. Maybe it's not all that good a matchup for Judah either, right?
Well, he's been in against a body puncher, so let's hope he's learned something from that and being able to do something about that. Different fighters bring different fights, and he's been in against a guy that's a great, strong guy in Baldemir. Now he's going in with Cotto, so maybe he's learned something from this fight, how to frustrate him.
We shall see if it takes place on June 9. It requires that Judah win a preparatory fight on April 13. Has been away from the sport for a year since his April 8 debacle against Floyd Mayweather last year. Larry Merchant, it was supposed to be a showcase for Miguel Cotto's body punching power and his new ability to dominate in the welterweight division, and to a certain degree it became a showcase for, number one, the invalidity of open scoring as I see it, number two, what a conditioned and spirited athlete Oktay Urkal was as an opponent, and still Cotto got through it in the way that he's supposed to do. What do you think?
I think that they've got another one. By they, I mean Puerto Rico has another champion. And maybe with the performance of Edison Miranda as well, who came here to learn how to fight, they will still have another champion they can claim. Woke up this morning, 2 newspapers, just to show you that this is still a mainstream sport someplace. One of them, the English-speaking newspaper, a full half page on the weigh-in, right there. The other newspaper, the Spanish newspaper, a full section on the fight.
Then I took a walk out in the park, and there was a statue to Sixto Escobar, the first world champion that Puerto Rico produced 70 years ago. When he came home from having won that title on a boat, thousands of people greeted him. One of them was Jack Dempsey. This is a fight culture. Later on, we saw many, many more champions come out of that Puerto Rican culture that were outstanding world champions. And looking at this now and seeing how important prize fighting is here, you know that this is something deeply bred into the culture, that this is a place that, given the number of Puerto Ricans there are, something about 8 million both on the island and in the States primarily, that pound for pound, this is the best place in the world for boxing. Jim?
Indeed. Carlos Ortiz, Jose Torres, Wilfredo Benitez, Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto, and perhaps, as Larry mentioned after tonight, the Colombian import, Edison Miranda. Cotto gets the victory he was looking for. He's 29-0 with 24 knockouts. We'll continue to chart and see what happens in his new career as a welterweight star. Thanks for being with us on this edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing. We want to remind you that this Monday, it's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. With March Madness upon us, we'll check in on the Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team, Alonda Tucker and company. And next Saturday, live at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Time from Mannheim, Germany, Vladimir Klitschko defends his portion of the heavyweight title against veteran Ray Austin. If you miss it, we'll re-air Klitschko-Austin in its entirety that same night at 10 p.m. Next on HBO, it's the premiere of Cat House Season 2 on the East Coast, and on the West Coast, the premiere of Poseidon. For our entire HBO crew, I'm Jim Lampley, saying so long from San Juan, Puerto Rico.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.